Book of Heaven, Volume 12. 2 May to 14 June 1917. Page 7–12. May 2, 1917. How Jesus Died Little by Little. Finding myself in my usual state, I was lamenting to my sweet Jesus because of his privations, telling him, "My love, who could ever imagine that your privation had to cost me so much? I feel I am dying, little by little. Each one of my acts is a death that I feel, because I cannot find the life. But dying and continuing to live is even more cruel, it is double death." My lovable Jesus came flashing by and told me, "My daughter, courage and firmness in everything." And then, "Don't you want to imitate me?" I too died little by little. As the creatures offended me in my steps, I felt a tearing in my feet, but with such bitterness of spasm as to be capable of giving me death. And while I felt like I was dying, yet, I would not die. As they offended me with their works, I felt death in my hands, and at the cruel torment, I agonized, I felt faint. But the will of the Father sustained me. I died, and I did not die. As the evil voices and the horrendous blasphemies of creatures were reflected in my voice, I felt like suffocating, my word being choked, poisoned. I felt death in my voice, but I did not die. And my tortured heart? As it palpitated, I felt the evil lives in my heartbeat, souls being ripped from me, and my heart was continuously torn and lacerated. I agonized and died continuously in each creature, in each offense. Yet, love, the divine will, forced me to live. This is the reason for your dying little by little. I want you together with me, I want your company in my deaths. Aren't you happy? And my tortured heart? As it palpitated, I felt the evil lives in my heartbeat, souls being ripped from me, and my heart was continuously torn and lacerated. I agonized and died continuously in each creature, in each offense. Yet, love, the divine will, forced me to live. This is the reason for your dying little by little. I want you together with me, I want your company in my deaths. Aren't you happy? May 10, 1917. How Jesus gives motion and life to all creatures with his breath. Continuing in my poor state, I was trying to fuse myself in my sweet Jesus according to my usual way, but as much as I tried, it was in vain. Jesus himself distracted me, and sighing strongly told me, "My daughter, the creature is nothing other than my breath. As I breathe, I give life to everything. All life is in the breathing. Without breathing, the heart no longer beats, the blood no longer circulates, the hands remain inactive, the mind feels the intelligence die, and so with all the rest. Therefore, the whole of human life is in receiving and in giving this breath. But while I give life and motion to all creatures with my breath, wanting to sanctify them, love them, embellish them, enrich them, etc. with my holy breath, as they return to me the breath which they receive, they send me offenses, rebellions, ingratitudes, blasphemies, denials, and all the rest. I send the breath as pure, and they send it back impure. I send it in blessing, and it comes back to me cursing. I send it all love, and it returns offending me up into my inmost heart. But love makes me continue to send my breath, in order to maintain these machines of human lives. Otherwise they would no longer function, and would end up wrecked. Ah! My daughter, did you hear how human life is maintained? By my breath. And when I find a soul who loves me, how sweet her breath is, how she amuses me, I feel cheered. An echo of harmonies is formed between me and her. So she remains distinct from the other creatures, and she will be distinct also in heaven. My daughter, I could not contain my love, and I wanted to pour myself out with you. So, today I could not fuse myself in Jesus, because he himself kept me busy in his breath. How many things I understood, but I am unable to say them well, so I stop here. May 12, 1917. One who doubts about the love of Jesus, saddens him. Since my always lovable Jesus had not come, and I was very afflicted, a thought flew into my mind while I was praying. Have you ever thought that you might be lost? I never really think about this, so I remained a little surprised. But good Jesus, who watches me in everything, immediately moved in my interior and told me, "My daughter, this is true strangeness, which saddens my love very much. If a daughter said to her father, 'I am not your daughter, so you will not give me a share of your inheritance. You don't want to give me food, you don't want to keep me in your house,' and she torments herself and laments, what would the poor father say? Strangeness. This daughter is mad. And with all his love, he would say to her, 'But, tell me, if you are not my daughter, whose daughter are you? How is this? You live under my same roof, you eat at my same table, I clothe you with my money, earned with my own sweat. If you are ill, I assist you and I procure the means to heal you. Why then, do you doubt that you are my daughter?' With more reason, I would say to one who doubts about my love, and fears that she might be lost, 'How is this? I give you my flesh for food, you live completely from my own. If you are ill, I heal you with the sacraments. If you are stained, I wash you with my blood. I can say that I am almost at your disposal, and you doubt? Do you want to sadden me? Tell me, then, do you love someone else? Do you recognize someone else as your father, since you say that you are not my daughter? And if this is not the case, why do you want to afflict yourself and sadden me? Aren't the bitternesses that others give me enough? You too want to add pains in my heart?" May 16, 1917. Effects of the hours of the Passion. Finding myself in my usual state, I was fusing all of myself in my sweet Jesus, and then I poured all of myself into the creatures, in order to give the whole of Jesus to all. And my lovable Jesus told me, "My daughter, every time the creature fuses herself in me, she gives the influence of divine life to all creatures, and according to their own needs, the creatures obtain their effects. Those who are weak, feel strength. Those who are obstinate in sin, receive light. Those who suffer, receive comfort, and so with all the rest." Then, I found myself outside of myself. I was in the midst of many souls, they seemed to be purging souls and saints, who were speaking to me and mentioning one person known to me, who died not too long ago. And they said to me, "He feels happy in seeing that there is not a soul who enters purgatory without carrying the mark of the hours of the Passion." Surrounded by the cortege of these hours and helped by them, the souls take a safe place. And there is not a soul who flies into heaven, without being accompanied by these hours of the Passion. These hours make a continuous dew pour down from heaven to earth, into purgatory, and even into heaven. On hearing this, I said to myself, maybe my beloved Jesus, in order to keep the word he had given, that for each word of the hours of the Passion he would give a soul, is allowing that there be not a saved soul who does not benefit from these hours. Afterwards, I returned into myself, and as I found my sweet Jesus, I asked him whether that was true. And he, "These hours are the order of the universe. They put heaven and earth in harmony, and restrain me from sending the world to ruin. I feel my blood, my wounds, my love and all I did, being placed in circulation, and they flow over all to save all. As souls do these hours of the Passion, I feel my blood, my wounds, my anxieties to save souls, being put in motion, and I feel my own life being repeated. How could creatures obtain any good if not by means of these hours? Why do you doubt? This thing is not yours, but mine. You have been the strained and weak instrument." June 7, 1917. The soul is separated from Jesus when she lets anything enter into herself which does not belong to him. Finding myself in my usual state, I was lamenting to my sweet Jesus because of his privations, and I said to him, "What a bitter separation! Separated from you, everything is over. I have remained as the most unhappy creature that can exist." And Jesus, interrupting me, told me, "My daughter, what separation are you talking about? Only then is the soul separated from me, when she lets enter into herself something that does not belong to me. Therefore, I enter into the soul, and if I find her will, her desires, her affections, her thoughts, her heart, everything as my own, I absorb her in me, and I keep melting her will with mine, with the fire of my love, making them one. I melt her desires with mine, her affections and thoughts with mine, And once I have formed one single liquid, I pour it over my whole humanity like a celestial dew, which is made of as many drops of dew for as many offenses as I receive, and they kiss me, love me, repair me, and balm my embittered wounds. And since I am in the act of doing good to all, this dew descends for the good of all creatures. But if I find something extraneous in the soul, which does not belong to me, I cannot melt what is hers into mine, because love alone has the virtue of melting and becoming one. Only similar things can mix together and have the same value. Therefore, if there is iron, thorns or stones in the soul, how can they melt? And then there are separations, unhappinesses. So, if nothing has entered into your heart, how can I separate from you? June 14, 1917. The more the soul strips herself of herself, the more Jesus clothes her with himself. Continuing in my usual state, I was praying my lovable Jesus to come in me, to love, pray and repair, because I knew how to do nothing. And sweet Jesus, moved to compassion for my nothingness, came and spent some time with me, praying, loving and repairing together with me. Then he said to me, "My daughter, the more the soul strips herself of herself, the more I clothe her with myself. The more she believes she can do nothing, the more I act in her, and I do everything. I feel all my love, my prayers, my reparations, etc. being placed in action by the creature. And to give honor to myself, I listen to what she wants to do. Does she want to love? I go to her and love together with her. Does she want to pray? I pray together with her. In sum, her stripping and her love, which is mine, bind me and force me to do with her whatever she wants to do. And I give to the soul the merit of my own love, of my prayers and reparations. To my highest contentment, I feel my life being repeated, and I make the effects of my work descend for the good of all, because it is not of the creature, who is hidden in me, but it is mine,